Good morning and welcome to Earnings Edge right here at NDTV Profit. We're now taking stock of JBM Auto, which reported its Q1 earnings and reported a strong 20% growth in its sales as well as its EBITDA growth in this particular quarter. We're now joined by Mr. Nishant Arya, Vice Chairman and MD of the company. Good morning, sir, and thank you so much for joining us today. Let me just start with the Q1 performance of the company. We've seen strong revenue growth in this particular quarter. If you could just sum up how was the quarter for the company effectively? We saw that there was some impact of heat waves as well as elections in this particular quarter. But how do you sum up the performance of the company in Q1?
No, I think the company has grown very well and definitely beyond the market growth because the passenger vehicle segment and the commercial vehicle segment are the primary segments in which the company operates. And the company's growth in the OEM division has been more than 90%. And in the auto component business, it has been around 8% plus, which is more than the industry growth. So definitely, I think the company is performing very well. The EBITDA of the company has grown by 25%, and clearly the operating cash flows have enhanced multifold because the asset utilization has gone up, and we are seeing a very strong order book today and moving forward in that direction.
Now, I just wanted to get into a segmental bit. As you mentioned, the components division is one of your biggest revenue contributors, about 770 odd crores of the total around 1100 odd crores of revenue. Now, I just wanted to ensure that if you could break us down for us. I think last time we did speak about the component division and the company's focus that you also, give out the components to other OEMs as well. And I guess the EV bus division comes under the OEM, if I'm not wrong. If you could just,
Right.
give us a bit more color on these particular divisions because the OEM has good margins as well. But just specifically, I think we did get cut off the last time. But on the components division, what is the company looking at and what are the current businesses, passenger vehicle as well as commercial vehicle, and on the OEM division as well?
So OEM division has grown by more than 91%. And has posted a very strong growth. The growth could have been even higher, but I think due to model code of conduct and the environment of elections, states and many customers were slowing down a bit to get a better sense of the house and more clarity. And on the component division side, the first quarter has been a little low on the commercial vehicle. So earlier the commercial vehicles would have been down by 10%. That is what was predicted end of last quarter, but it was not as challenging. But the passenger vehicle market has enhanced. So actually our growth in the auto component business is more than 10%, but the raw material prices have gone down, and we have seen that clearly we have achieved a growth of around 8% in the component business, which is in line because always with each quarter the company's growth keeps enhancing, and the first quarter beginning of the year kickstarts that growth journey. So I think we are on the right track, and with the EBITDA growing by 25%, we are really seeing that we are focusing on operating cash flows from the business.
No, specifically, for the OEM division, we've seen very strong growth in this particular quarter. Now, for you specifically, this only consists of the electric vehicle bus segment, if I'm right.
Yeah, it is electric vehicles and buses, yes.
Yeah, so just wanted to understand a bit more on your order book picture as well, because that currently drives what the OEM revenue has shown. And you mentioned the last time we spoke, you had an order book of roughly 5,000 odd buses. Now you had gotten a new order as well to reach that particular level. Now, what is the current utilization of that particular order? How much has it reached, and have you received any particular new orders in this particular Q1?
So this particular quarter, we've been working with a lot of private customers for different projects. But as you know, because of model code of conduct, things were a bit slow. So after execution of buses in this quarter and the previous financial year, currently we are sitting at 5,000 buses order book. Earlier we were a little bit more than 5,000 buses. After execution of Q1, we are exactly at 5,000.
Understood, sir. And if you could just give us some more color on, what you mentioned about the private bus operators also coming back into the market. We've seen some other industry players also give some similar commentary. as well as seeing some recovery in the school bus segment as well. Finally, that over the last couple of years because of the pandemic, that segment has also bottomed out. How are you seeing your order book shaping up in this particular year, taking into consideration both of these factors as well as government state-owned buses which are also going through a revamp? Although we've seen a lot of them coming out with orders for ICE buses itself, but any kind of picture that you could give us on these particular metrics, and finally on your order book, where are you seeing it in a range, if you could give us for this particular year?
No, so clearly, see, we've also had a tie-up with Macquarie, and we have executed contracts also with them. So for about more than 2,000 electric buses to be deployed over a period of 3 years. And in the first quarter, we executed the contract, and we have executed more than 43 buses in this quarter itself. And definitely in the upcoming quarter, where we see a strong partner like Macquarie, which is one of the leading global funds deploying capital in the green businesses like electric buses is a big fillip to the business and brings in huge growth opportunities in the future. Plus, now we are seeing in this second quarter a good understanding and requirements coming from stakeholders for intercity, city buses, airport buses, school buses, and other applications. But definitely, I think on the electric side, school segment is not as strong as the ICE side yet, but primarily on the city, intercity, coach, staff applications, there's a lot of traction and focus from the industry.
Just wanted an update on your manufacturing facility as well. I think you had roughly 20,000 capacity for your buses. Is utilization around the 25-30% odd level, or has that gone up a bit in this particular quarter?
No, so we are at 20-25% utilization because the first half of the year is always lower than the second half of the year. So half of the year always contributes 35% to 40%, and second half of the year is always 60 to 65%.
I just wanted to get a sense of, what's taken place in the budget as well. We have seen that there has been no new PLI scheme for components or anything of that sort for the auto sector. While post the budget, we have seen that the EMPS scheme has been extended by a couple of months. I just wanted to get a picture if currently the EMPS scheme is benefiting EV bus makers such as yourself, because we saw
EMPS scheme don't cover buses, so that
buses.
doesn't apply to us.
So any kind of outlook that you have for, for FAME 3 specifically, because there has been a lot of, news flow around it.
No, I
Because I
think
think
all of us are looking forward to understand more about FAME 3, which is expected to be coming up in the second quarter itself. And for buses, we have a separate program which is being driven by the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, which is called PM E-Bus Seva Program. And that is totally focused on buses. And even multiple states and other central agencies like Ministry of Heavy Industries and others are focusing on electric buses in a big way. So there is a clear pipeline because even in FAME 2 and otherwise, the buses have been more than 40% of the allocation given by the government budget for the electric vehicle program.
Uh, just one question on the PM E-Bus Seva scheme. We did, mention about it the last time we spoke. Now it has like a 12-year, financial clause to maintain the buses as well. If you could just tell us what's the company's strategy in this particular, scheme, because we have seen other bus makers, create a subsidiary and transfer the buses once it's sold under this particular scheme. Is JBM Auto also currently on this particular model? And how do you see this shaping up?
JBM Auto actually was one of the first companies to make a mobility subsidiary few years back, which actually became the industry trend. And we are always doing our mobility concession contracts from that subsidiary, post that subsidiary has been formed.
Any kind of funding that that subsidiary might require going forward as well? Because of course, when they are taking on the buses, they will require to, pay
So on
the
a constant basis, we keep working with different financial institutions for funding those projects. Yes.
Any update on if you will be doing that, or are you looking at extended investors for that particular side?
No, so we keep working with different financial institutions. So there is nothing as of now, which is concrete enough for me to put across.
Not just one question on in your results per se, you have a subsidiary called JBM Ecolife Mobility,
Which
which
is a
is
mobility company which you
yeah,
were talking
which
about.
is the
Yeah.
mobility company now. Effectively, it's become a joint venture, so as to say, correct? Any kind of update on that? Is there any kind of, because there is a, you said that there is no shareholding change in this particular in this particular company now. How does that change? If you could tell us a little bit about that part.
There has been no change in this quarter.
There was a exchange filing that has become a joint venture, but that doesn't materially change the business.
No, 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 no.
Okay.
The nature
Uh,
of business and everything else remains same.
Okay. My final question on FY25. You did mention that your second half you are expecting 60 to 65% of the business to come in that particular
No,
half.
that is not on my expectation. That's the business
No,
industry
no, industry
standard, how the
specific.
business
Yes. My
operates.
question was more on how you seeing FY25. If you could give us some numbers, that would be great. But on guidance, do you see that post Fame 3 or anything on that sort, we'll be seeing more action in the second half per se. We are expecting a revival of the CV sector also coming in the second half. If,
Sure.
is any kind of quantification that you could give us for the components as well as the OEM division?
So as a company, we have a clear guidance of 6,500 crores plus top line for FY25.
And anything on margins that you could let us know?
We would be consistent with our margins as FY25.
In this, we've seen around 12 to 13% range that has been mentioned, similar to
Yes.
that. And anything on buses specifically, do you see the order inflow coming in from private in a much larger way in this particular year? And also,
Definitely, I think a lot of companies are focused on their ESG and SDG goals, and plus they want to decarbonize their whole supply chain and ecosystem, employ transportation, and many other initiatives which are being taken by them. So that will be creating a lot of requirement in the market as we go along, and I think we are very well geared up for that.
well, Mr. Arya, thank you so much for joining us today and talking to us about the first quarter results of JBM Auto. We look forward to our next conversation. But thank you so much for joining us today.
Sure, thank you.
Well, that's all the time we have on this edition of Earnings Edge. Stay tuned to NDTV Profit for more.